Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show to bring you guys this morning. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel. Bottom right hand corner, get involved. On the show today, we're going to be talking about more dressing room leaks. The players appear to be turning on the manager. It's the same old stuff over and over again. Every single time we have usually a good season with a new manager. The second season comes along and then the leaks start coming out. The players decide that they're unhappy with them. And it's just the same process over and over again. And before we go into this, I just want to say from the very, very beginning, we need to break this process. We need to break this cycle. We need to acknowledge what's actually going wrong here and who's to blame, not be pointing the finger at the wrong people. So, of course, we'll be talking about this. I'll bring you all of the different stories that have come out in the last 24 hours around the players turning on Erik ten Hag. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Andre Onana and him potentially missing 7 matches for Manchester United, which is a massive blow. I think he's only just now starting to get comfortable. So, of course, we'll be talking about that. Lots of other bits to get into as well. As always, get involved in the comments section. Get involved in the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on the show this morning. So, let's start off with these dressing room leaks then, because I think this is probably the most, the biggest news story of the day, the biggest topic to discuss. Now, I'm going to go through them. I'm going to give you all the journalist names who've brought these stories out. So the first one is coming from Sami Mokbel, who is a UK journalist, got over 130,000 followers on Twitter. And he is reporting this morning that Manchester United players fear head coaches... Let me start again. Manchester United players fear head coach Erik ten Hag's abrupt approach is affecting the squad harmony. Okay. He then goes on to say that figures within the Manchester United dressing room believe Ten Hag's handling of certain individuals has had a negative impact on the squad's togetherness. Now, I would imagine that's Jadon Sancho. I would imagine that's probably Harry Maguire, obviously how he was handled to begin with. Obviously, he's playing football matches now, but last season he was completely frozen out of the project. Obviously, how he handled the Ronaldo situation was, in some people's eyes, poor. How he handled the David De Gea situation, I think, was very poor. So no wonder these players are upset about that. That's probably the only one of these stories this morning that I somewhat agree with. I think the Jadon Sancho situation, from the information I have and from the information that's out in the public domain, I think he handled it accordingly. I think if a player calls you out in public, then they shouldn't play for the club again. Cristiano Ronaldo, I think he kind of, sorted his own exit really, didn't he? As soon as he did that interview with Piers Morgan, he was never going to play for the club again. Whereas David De Gea, I know some of you wanted him to stay, some of you wanted him not to stay. I think the handling of David De Gea was really, really bad by Manchester United personally. Now, whether that was Erik ten Hag's fault, obviously we're not sure. It might have been John Murtough and Richard Arnold. They might have been the ones responsible. But either way, I can see where these 2 or 3, 4 even players that have supposedly been handled badly by Erik ten Hag have come along. Now, obviously, if you're Pep Guardiola and you're winning trebles, I think, people say that it's a good thing, don't they? Joao Cancelo, let's say, as an example, in my opinion, probably the best left back in the Premier League. He falls out of Pep Guardiola. He never will play for Man City again. Immediately gone, frozen out of the squad. Nobody really complained. People were a little bit shocked, weren't they? But nobody was, calling him out. You didn't hear that the dressing room were turning against Pep because they understand that, Pep is a serial winner. If you mess with Pep, you're gone. And I think that Erik ten Hag's tried to come in and almost replicate that with this Manchester United team. But as we all know, this team is a bunch of, overpaid, egotistical, average players. Let's be honest. They're not on the level of Man City. Man City have humble players who are, in my opinion, most of them world class, but they don't act like they're world class, if that makes sense. They're very down to earth, they're very humble. Whereas Manchester United, they all think they're superstars, whereas they're all pretty average at best. Let's be clear here. It then goes on to say as well that it is understood that Manchester United plan to make a public announcement with a private apology from Sancho, which would have been viewed as a public victory for Ten Hag. Sancho, though, remains close with a number of players in the Manchester United squad despite his banishment. I mean, so we're already getting the gist of where these stories are coming from. Ultimately, that Jadon Sancho is still very, very close with a lot of the players in the squad. I mean, we know that he's close with Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, he's close with Sancho. I think there's a couple of others that Jadon Sancho, has remained close friends with. And as Sancho said, we don't know the whole story of this, so maybe it will come out at some point. I don't think it will come out soon. I think we'll probably find out if Jadon Sancho leaves. The only obviously exception is if Erik ten Hag did get sacked, then maybe we find out the truth about what happened with Jadon Sancho. And somebody else is saying Mason Greenwood. I mean, Mason Greenwood's another one, isn't he? Obviously, that's a much more complicated situation to discuss. But, you know, if you look through the players that have fallen out with him or have had issues with him since he's been here, obviously David De Gea, Cristiano Ronaldo, Harry Maguire, Jadon Sancho, Mason Greenwood I wouldn't really include in that list because that was kind of when Ollie was here, and obviously it's a completely different situation. But there's been all of these different people that have had these situations, and you can understand why the dressing room are upset about it. But the one thing I will say is, right, these people are paid ridiculous amounts of money to represent Manchester United. It's not their problem whether they think their friend has been treated badly. I get it though; they're human. You know, if you worked at a company and your best friend was being treated badly by the one of the managers, I don't think that would motivate you to work harder, would it? You'd probably be like, screw this, I don't care about these people, they're not treating people fairly. So I do get it from a human level, but looking at it from an outside perspective, these people are paid unbelievable amounts of money to do, let's be honest, an average job at the moment. And for them to be ultimately downing tools because they're unhappy with how Jadon Sancho, Harry Maguire, David De Gea, Cristiano Ronaldo have apparently been treated. I mean, it's just a bit pathetic, isn't it, to be honest? It really, really is. You don't see that at clubs like Man City, because if that happened at Man City, whoever these players are that are complaining, Pep would just get rid of. He would say, you know what? Marcus Rashford, okay, yes, he might have scored 30 goals this season. Obviously, I'm just giving this as an example, but, whoever it is, Bruno Fernandes, yes, you're one of our best players, gone, you know? He would just get rid of them if it was Pep. And I think that that's what Erik ten Hag wants to do, but I think it's a different situation with Man United and Man City. Obviously, Man City will 100% back Pep Guardiola's decisions and his falling outs with players, whereas I think part of Erik ten Hag getting the job at Manchester United was him convincing the board that, you know, he would turn Rashford into this great striker, that he'd turn Bruno, you know, he'd continue getting the best out of Bruno Fernandes. And like, I think it was very much with Erik ten Hag in his interviews to get the Manchester United job. It was more what he could do with that squad, you know, that he could turn Rashford into this world-class striker versus we need to spend £1 billion, we need open heart surgery, because Ralph Rangnick came out and said that, and he was got rid of immediately. So I do somewhat wonder, you know, what Erik ten Hag said in his interview to get the job, because all we ever heard after that was how much he impressed the Manchester United board and how, you know, clearly their visions were aligned. So it's a difficult one to really get your head around, you know, because it does make you wonder, what has he promised the Manchester United board? What has he promised the Glazers? And is that why Marcus Rashford starts every match? You know, did he say to them, I'm going to make Marcus Rashford the best player in the world? Last season, you know, he was one of the best players in the world. By way of stats anyway, of 30 goals overall, obviously he wasn't included in any of the Ballon d'Or nominations or anything like that, but you know, he did get a lot of goals and stuff. But this season he's been absolutely terrible, and it does sometimes make me think that maybe part of his, you know, interview, part of his agreement and getting the job was that yes, he'd make Rashford this, he'd do this with Bruno, and he almost feels that by dropping Rashford it would, you know, be seen as a failure. I think there's something to do with that, to be honest, and I think there's more to it than what the naked eye sees. Let's see what everybody's saying in the chat this evening. It's this morning. Everybody please smash a like on the video, by the way. We've got over 300 of you watching. Smash a like, give it the thumbs up, and also make sure you subscribe. Paul says, we have to understand we can't get rid of them. High wages and our board are useless at selling. It's been like this for years. Exactly. It's player power. It's player power. And this is when for me, I don't want this to happen, but I feel like all of these stories are the beginning of the end. You know, if we lose against Newcastle tonight, which I don't think we will, but I wouldn't be surprised at the same time. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to go out and absolutely batter Newcastle, because I don't think we'll batter them, but I think it'll be a tight game. I think either club could win. But you know, imagine if we lose to Newcastle tonight, right? I think then we've got Fulham away from home. That's a difficult match. Last season, I think we scored last kick of the game, didn't we, and won the game against Fulham away from home. That's a difficult game. 12:30 kickoff on Saturday afternoon. Again, it's a must-win game, but imagine if we lose tonight, lose against Fulham, and then lose against Copenhagen. I mean, that would be us out of the Champions League, out of the Carabao Cup, and literally somewhere down in the bottom of the Premier League table. And the thing is, right, even after these few games, which I would say most of these next 3 should be winnable. We've got Luton, which obviously that's I mean, I say that should be easy. It should be easy. After that, it's a very, very difficult run. You've got Galatasaray away, then you've got Newcastle United away, then you've got Chelsea, then you've got Bayern Munich, then you've got Liverpool away, West Ham away, Aston Villa, Tottenham. I mean, so after this run of 3 matches, it gets very, very difficult for Manchester United. In the space of 10 games, you've got Galatasaray away, Newcastle away, Chelsea at home, Bayern Munich at home, Liverpool away, West Ham away, Aston Villa at home, and Tottenham at home. I mean, those 10 matches are all against the top 10 teams. And last season, I don't think we beat any of the top 10 teams away from home, not one of them. So I don't think we even got a point, did we? I think the only one was against Chelsea. We got 1 point out of any team in the top 10 last season. So he needs to win these next 3 games for me, because otherwise I don't want Erik ten Hag to get sacked. But when you get these stories now coming out saying that the dressing room are turning against him, they're unhappy with him and all the rest of it, and then you look at the fixtures we've got coming up now, it's a massive, massive worry for me. It is. And I don't know what the solution is here, because the thing is, right, I've said this to you many, many times before. The club won't want to sack him because of the financial implications, right? Erik ten Hag, I think he has around £18 million left on his current contract. To get rid of him and bring in another top manager, probably having to bring them from another club, whether that's De Zerbi, whether that's, I don't know, whoever you want it to be, or whoever you think it would be, it's probably going to cost Manchester United anywhere from 30 to 50 million to get rid of a manager and bring in a new one. When you think that in the summer, right, we were having to scrape around the back of the sofa to find 8 million to do a loan deal for Amrabat, how are they going to pull 50 million out of thin air to go and get another manager? It won't happen. And what would happen is, right, they'd go and get an interim. It would be Darren Fletcher. It would be Steve McLaren. It would be someone like that. I'm telling you, it would be that till the end of the season. And I just think that it's completely pointless. And I think that we need to break this cycle. We need to break this cycle. Right, let's go through a couple more of these stories then this morning about the players turning. I mean, this is absolutely mad as well. I wanted to bring this one into the show. So apparently the players are complaining that the socks that they're being given aren't comfy, and that the shorts and the tops they're given aren't comfy. I mean, what a load of rubbish. Like, that literally is the most ridiculous excuse I've ever heard, to say, you know, we're not winning matches because our socks aren't very nice. Like, this is a genuine story. It's literally being reported all over the UK this morning. It says players have complained to Ten Hag that the club's kit and the club's kit staff, that the socks are too tight on their calves. Some players have cut holes in their socks, blah, blah, blah. And then it also says that they're unhappy with the shirts. I mean, it's just like, instead of just taking a bit of ownership and saying, we're not good enough, right? We're not good enough. We need to go out there. We need to improve. We need to work tirelessly. And we will do that. They're blaming the manager, and now they're blaming the socks. I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? It really, really is. Let's have a look. Al says Erik ten Hag only has 18 months left on his contract. They can promote his assistant coach to save money. I mean, yeah, that's a good point, to be fair. That's a very, very good point. Only 18 months left. I didn't realise that. When does his contract expire? Let's have a quick look for you. Let's have a look. So Erik ten Hag's contract is until June 2025 with the option of a further year. So how long's that then? Is that 18 months? Yeah, it is about 18 months, isn't it? So it's not actually very long. It will be 1 year at the end of the season. I mean, that's one good thing that Manchester United did, you know. They gave him a 3-year deal. I think that was sensible. I do, because I think at least then he's on £9 million a year. So let's work that out quickly. So if they were to remove him now, let's say, which I don't, just to be very, very clear, I don't want Erik ten Hag to go, but I'm just giving you this information just so we can have a look at it properly. So he's got 18 months left of his contract. If they were to sack him today, they would have to pay him 13.5 million in compensation. When you think that we didn't even have the money to buy Amrabat for about 15 million in the summer, where are they going to get this money from? They'd have to take out more loans, more credit. It's ridiculous. Although I think actually how it works with managers, I think it's a little bit different. If they get sacked, I think they just keep paying them each week for the remainder of their contract. I don't think it's that they have to give them the full money up front. So I think that's how it works. Because I remember seeing with the Bayern Munich manager who got sacked, what was his name? Is it Nagelsmann, who's the Germany manager? I think when obviously he became the Germany manager, Bayern Munich stopped paying him his weekly wage. It was something like that. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Comeback King says, media wanted Poch. I'm glad we didn't get Poch. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't get Poch as well. I still haven't made up whether, Erik ten Hag's the right man for the next 10, 20, 30 years. I don't think he's shown enough to, for me to give him that level of backing. I give him the backing at the moment because I don't think there's anybody else out there. I think that the issue is the players. I think they're all a bunch of babies. I think they're all overpaid. I think they all think they're better than they are. There's no togetherness. I think the only type of manager that will work with this set of players is someone like Ollie. I'm not saying bring Ollie back before people start getting, confused on this show this morning. What I am saying is they need a manager who literally just lets them do what they want. That, just says, go out there, have a bit of fun. We've got no play style, hit on the counter attack and hope we get a goal. That's the kind of manager that would suit this type of players. As soon as you bring in somebody who has any sense of authority, they complain. This week we've been hearing that the players think that the training sessions are too hard, that they're being made to run too much. I remember when Ralf Rangnick was here, they were all complaining about him. When they bring in this elite level of, maybe not elite level manager, but these managers with this intense detail, this, these authoritarian figures who are ultimately going to tell them every time they make a bad mistake in training or on the pitch, they're going to shout at them. They don't seem to react well to those types of players. They seem to react well to people like Ollie, who, after losing to Liverpool, getting thrashed by Liverpool, he comes out smiling, saying, my boys did well. And, they like those types of people. Somebody in the chat says Simeone of Atletico Madrid. Yeah, I mean, he would be another one of those types of managers, though, who would come in and probably fall out of the players. I don't really know of any other managers who, like Ollie, have no tactics, don't coach the team, but just smile constantly. I don't think they really exist. If there's anybody in the chat who can think of anyone, this is a genuine question, let me know in the comment section. Is there any types of managers you can think of over the last kind of, who are available or could be available, who are really approachable, really likeable, get along with the players? I can't really think of any. I genuinely can't, other than Ollie. He was one of a kind for me. He was very much about building relationships with these players. Zaid says, Kieran, they threw Ollie under the bus by getting thrashed by Watford. These players only want good times. The moment things go bad, they all give up. Exactly. They don't want this manager who tells them what to do. And then as soon as the manager who lets them do whatever they want tries to improve the team, they just all complain. So there's no really winning here. Alan says that's why they want more Mount number 7 sold to pay off Erik ten Hag. Not sure what you mean there, mate, but fair enough. Alan says Erik ten Hag was doomed from the start. British media didn't want him. I agree. Somebody says we should throw out any player that thinks they're above the team. Somebody else, Cobra says spoilt brats. They are a bunch of spoilt brats, all of them, every single one of them. And you know what? I was whilst I was eating my breakfast this morning and I was reading all of these headlines about them turning against Erik ten Hag again. I genuinely was sat there and I thought, from the team that started against Man City the other day, from that starting 11, other than Højlund, I genuinely wouldn't care if all of the rest of them left. I wouldn't at this point, because none of them show any desire, any passion. They're just overpaid and lazy, all of them. And I think that, Erik ten Hag is trying to reset the culture at Manchester United, getting rid of people like Jadon Sancho, who's turning up late for training and causing issues and all the rest of it. He's trying, but the players aren't reacting well to it. And as somebody said in the chat earlier on today, it's not as simple as just saying, oh, let's get rid of all of our players. They're all on £200,000-300,000 a week. Nobody else in world football is going to pay Rashford 350 grand a week. Nobody in world football is going to give Harry Maguire £200,000 a week. All of these players are on absolutely stupid amounts of money. And if you look through that team, right, I would probably keep Onana because we've only just got him. And I'd probably keep Højlund because we've only just got him. But Lindelof, Evans, Maguire, Dalot, I probably would keep Dalot, but the other three I would 100% have no issue if they left. Amrabat and Eriksson, again, I really wouldn't be bothered if any of them left. Rashford, McTominay, Bruno. I just think that we need to have a whole reset, and I think that at the moment we've got players from 3 different managers. You've got Ollie players, you've got Mourinho players, you've got some Ten Hag players, and I think none of them complement each other. None of them share that mutual desire to go out and work as a team and win football matches. They're all just for themselves. They all want that moment of fame, and I just think that it's a massive problem. And I just think sacking the manager is going to get us nowhere, personally. But yeah, nobody in the chat seems to know anybody like Ollie. I think Ollie was one of a kind. Al says, I would promote the assistant coach to save money. Ajax wants him back, so I assume he is decent. Yeah, fair enough. But that's still the same problem, though, isn't it? Fred says, what about Father Christmas? He brings a smile to everybody. There you go. Yeah, give Father Christmas the manager. Max says, why are you defending the manager so much? His signings are shocking. Starter player's crap. He is finished. No way he can come back. Fair enough. That is your opinion. That is fine. Let me have a look. So you're saying the signings are shocking. My response to that would be, Erik ten Hag didn't get any of his first choice signings. So yes, the signings were shocking. But is that Erik ten Hag's fault or was that the board's fault? Did he get Harry Kane? Is Harry Kane wearing a Manchester United shirt now? No, he's at Bayern. Did he get Kim Min-jae? No, he didn't get any centre-back at all. Did he get Gakpo in January? No, he got Weghorst and Sabitzer. Did he get Frankie de Jong? No, he got Amrabat on transfer deadline day on loan for £8 million plus some other stuff. Did he get... who else did he want? I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but there you go. I've pretty much just answered that question. I would agree. The signings are shocking. They are. But is that Erik ten Hag's fault or is that the board's fault for not being able to get these deals done, by not being able to get his number one targets? I mean, even people like Osimhen, like there were so many good players available in the summer. Osimhen, Harry Kane, Kim Min-jae, Frankie de Jong, Gakpo, and we didn't do it. We didn't do it. What else have we got? A. Fran says, I'd keep Rashford and give Amrabat a chance. Yeah, I mean, the thing with Rashford is he is a good player. I do like him. And I think under a certain type of manager who, brings out the best of him, like Ten Hag did last year, I think he will shine. But I do just wonder with Rashford, is there some deep underlying issue, maybe with the Sancho situation? Obviously, we're hearing these stories today that the players are unhappy with how some of the players have been treated. I mean, obviously, you don't want to speculate on who these people are who are unhappy, but it's quite easy to work it out, isn't it, really? When you think that who Sancho was best friends with, David De Gea was obviously friends with the whole group, so that would have caused issues. And you know what? That did cause an issue for me. When David De Gea was got rid of in the way he did, I was upset about that. There was people in the chat saying, get over it. David De Gea was washed, all the rest of it. And I thought David De Gea doesn't deserve to leave. I think keep him for one more season. And I think that would have been the better decision. So I was a little bit upset about that, but I've got no issue with Ronaldo going. I've got no issue with Sancho going. I had no issue with what happened with Harry Maguire. I think those were all the correct decisions personally. Malvin says, it's not the manager's fault. As soon as you realise that, we need a proper structure in the club. We're never going to get anywhere. Look at Brighton. Does not matter who leaves the club remains the same. I 100% agree with you, mate. I do. But the thing is, right, that's exposing the Glazers. That's exposing John Murtough. That's exposing Richard Arnold. Why are they going to throw themselves under the bus? That's ultimately them admitting that how they've run the club for the last 18 years has been wrong. It would take them to have a massive... I can't think of the word, but they would have to be a really, really big person to come out and say, for the last 18 years, we've run the club badly, we've done things wrong, we need a complete reset. They're not going to do that. They're happy, cashing in their checks every single month. It just simply won't happen. Somebody says, sacking Erik ten Hag is not the solution. In Erik ten Hag, I trust sack all the board and the CEO and the director of football. I agree. Somebody says Chelsea are also struggling right now, but you don't see their business out there. Why anytime the manager disciplines the players, it was out there saying a source in the dressing room, the whole team is soured. Yes, I agree with that. I just wanted to bring in this bit about Onana really, really quickly. So apparently it has been confirmed that Onana will be going to the Africa Cup of Nations in January now, and could miss as many as 7 matches. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely mad. Hopefully Altay Bayindir can do a good job for us, because around January, it's going to be very, very difficult. We've got some really, really tight fixtures here. I'm just going to read you all of these headlines really, really quickly in the newspapers about this Erik ten Hag being turned on by the players. So let me just read them all out for you quickly before we end the show. So the first one is this. Manchester United players fear Erik ten Hag's hard approach is affecting the team morale, with stars feeling that internal conflicts are damaging squad unity amid dismal start to the season. So that was the first one. Then it also goes on to say... this is one from Ralph Ragnick. So, I was saying before, they don't like managers who have any sort of authority. This was a headline when Ralph Ragnick was here. It says, Man United players unhappy with Ragnick's training and comparing his assistant to Ted Lasso. And then And then the last one here was it says group of Man United players unhappy with senior coaches after juvenile sessions. Manchester United have had a disappointing season in the Premier League today as pressure cranks up on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So we have this exactly the same story every single time the results turn bad. They try and blame the manager. They try and blame the training sessions. They say that the manager's too hard on them. Oh, he made me stay for an extra 10 minutes after class. Oh, boo-hoo. You know what I mean? It's just embarrassing. And we all need to see this for what it is. Yes, people say sack the manager. Yes, it's easy to get rid of the manager and everyone will think everything will be better. But you're still going to be stuck with these overpaid brats who think they're better than they are. And that's my taking point from this. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Please do let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed on the show today. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. This has been Daily Red Devil. I'll speak to you all a little bit later. Have a lovely day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and speak soon.